Pá, fazia umas fotografias do meu pai. Bem, é bom voltar a sério. Bem, eu nível de economia, nem que estás a entrar na área. Ou seja, parabéns, isso é só lá em cima, ali.
As Pedro pointed out, I'm not a musician and did not start out as one. I was a writer in an advertising agency, and before that I was just sort of a footloose hippie. I started DJing because it seemed like a logical thing for me. I mean, I had good taste, so people came to my dances, but that's what I was doing. And I played a lot of funk, I played a lot of soul, I played anything I liked, actually. Played rock music, and I played hip-hop. Hip-hop was not very well known. You didn't hear it on the radio very much at all. So I could play hip-hop to people in their 30s, and they would like it. As long as I didn't play too much of it, because then they would get bored. But I could play 15 minutes of hip-hop, and then 15 minutes of soul, and then 15 minutes of funk, and then 15 minutes of old rock and roll, and then go back to hip-hop. And that was fine. That was really great. While I was doing this, I was also going to the Roxy and listening to Bambaataa, Jazzy J, Red Alert. I was listening to Mr. Magic on the radio, and just really absorbing a lot of this culture. I met this guy, Douglas DeFranco, who was working in a radio production studio. And what he did for a living was, at the time, because the economics of the world were different, record companies advertised on the radio a lot. So what Douglas did was he would produce radio commercials, 60-second long radio commercials for record albums. He was an expert music editor, and he knew how to make where the guy talking, he knew how to make him land in the right place. You know, speech, I mean, you can buy a spoken word record and put it over a beat, and it's going to kind of work as long as there's enough space in the beat for you to hear the voice. You know, you can take my voice and it's just talking and blah, 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 and okay, it works because the beat, you know, and you can kind of rock to the beat, and here's the voice over here. But if you take the voice and you stretch it and cut it and compress it, so if it hits right within the track, all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's like a singer. You know, that's what singers do. So cut and paste sounded like, yeah, this is all you do, boom, boom, like this. Here's a mix contest. You guys should enter this contest. One Friday evening, we went into the studio. I brought in about 6 crates of records, so you know it was close to 600 records. Douglas had about 100 records, and we also had everything that was in his studio. The piece that we did, we finished it Sunday night. We put it on a tape. We sent it in, and 6 weeks later, I came out of a conference at the advertising agency, and my secretary said, "Hey, look, you won that contest." So I called up. And I said, "Yeah, this is Steve Stein. I understand we won the contest." And there was this long pause, and he went, "Yeah, who are you?" I said, I'm like a record collector." And he said, "What kind of mixer has a secretary?" and I said, "Well, I work in an advertising agency." He said, "Yeah, and the other guy, where does he work?" I said, well, he's an engineer in a sound studio. He said, when are you guys going to come in? The judges were, Shep Pettibone, Africa Bambaataa, a number of very famous DJs and producers, Arthur Baker. Meanwhile, the last part of the prize was, we'll send the tape of your mix to 10 radio stations in the United States, and they'll play it. Well, a week later, we heard from the people at the record label. They said, your mix is now a top 10 request item at every one of those stations. No one was paying them to play our records. They played them because they sounded good, and people liked them because they sounded good. So, by accident, we had done something that I thought was meaningful, like amazing. So I discovered a world outside of business creativity. It was real creativity, the real thing. You make something, and people listen to it, not because they have to, but because they want to. And it makes a difference to them. It works for me, and I really like it. And now I can play the kind of music I want to play the way I want to play it. And I'm still working at it. I'm not perfect. I still, on any evening, there'll still be one or two horrible mistakes. But no one has thrown anything at me yet, and so I feel very lucky. And now I can travel around the world. I can talk to people about making music, about what it's like to make music, about playing music, and this is great. Because otherwise I would just be sitting in some stupid studio someplace working on another commercial about cars, which is fine. Helps me pay the rent, but if I was doing it all the time, I'd kill myself. So now I'm in Portugal and I'm talking to you. Next question. Steinski, brother, Steinski. Kind gentleman over there who provided me with this. What I'm doing is I'm tapping the tempo in here. There's a window with numbers that are changing to reflect the speed of the track. Where Mr. Paredes is in relation to a mechanical mathematical beat. I'm going to nail this music down to an exact template.
For my cash flow, nothing in this life is free. It's got to be right to buy, connect and go. Need more dough for my cash flow. I need more dough for my cash flow. Right to buy, connect and go. Nothing in this life is free. It's got to be right to buy, connect and go. Need more dough for my cash flow. Nothing in this life is free. It's got to be right to buy, connect and go. Need more dough for my cash flow. Nothing in this life is free. It's got to be right to buy, connect and go. Need more dough for my cash flow. Nothing in this life is free. It's got to be right to buy, connect and go. Need more dough for my cash flow.